Hi, everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today, we're diving into the state of the local economy in 2026 because as financial pressures reshape how Canadians spend their money, the businesses that thrive are those that are moving away from isolated transactions and toward deeply interconnected relationships. Joining us to discuss this very topic is Karisa Marra, the head of sales and business expert at Square Canada. Karisa leads a national team dedicated to helping entrepreneurs from restaurants to allied health practitioners overcome operational challenges and reimagine commerce. She's here today to share insights from the Square Local Economy Outlook on neighborhood networks, intentional spending, and the power of the regular. So without further ado, let's dive in and welcome Karisa. Karisa, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for joining. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. The sun is out today. It's still cold, but I'm happy with the sun, and I'm always happy talking about neighborhoods and our small businesses. So pleasure to be here.
Can't complain about the weather, likewise, but very pleased to have you with us, Carissa. And we'd love to kind of, open our discussion with something that you're passionate about, which are, again, neighborhoods, right? Neighborhoods as economic engines. The 2026 Square Local Economy Outlook, as I mentioned in my intro as well, it suggests that businesses it shouldn't see themselves as islands, but as part of a neighborhood network. Tell us more about this, Carissa. How do neighborhood networks drive economic growth and benefit local businesses?
Yeah, neighborhood networks are powerful because local businesses do not operate in isolation. They're part of the same customer routine. In our research, we found that 74% of Canadians said they visit multiple local businesses on the same trip. And Square transaction data, we found that 49% of sellers, which is what we call our businesses in Toronto, and 55% in Vancouver, share the same regular customers with at least one other business in that neighborhood. So it tells us that neighborhood spending is actually connected and not random at all. For businesses, that matters because being a part of a customer's regular route can translate into real economic value. Square's data showed that in Toronto, each additional local connection was associated with an extra $2,000 in annual revenue, which is pretty massive when you think about small business. So when a neighborhood thrives, businesses benefit from that shared foot traffic, repeat visits, stronger local routines that support everybody in that same neighborhood. At a broader level, these networks help create resilience. So when businesses are woven into the daily lives of their local customers, they're better positioned to withstand economic pressure and contribute to a stronger local economy overall.
Mm-hmm. Really realizing that a trip to a local coffee shop, it often leads to a visit at a nearby florist. It shows that, shared customer bases are quite the backbone of a resilient economy.
Yeah,
Now,
and I was going to say in general, like if I live in a small, very heavy tourist town, and a lot of our local businesses are dependent upon that. So if I'm going out to get a latte at my lunchtime, it's very likely that I'm going to pop into one or two more shops that day. And then depending on the products that they have out in their storefront or their staff and them remembering my name, I want to go in and see what new products they have because that's what drives that loyalty. And also, all of these businesses are trying to drive value in the items that they're putting forward and thinking about that local touch or what product can I put up in the front that differentiates me from the store next door and again drives value back to the people who are walking down the street.
very insightful that add-on that you just kind of made. It tells us that we need to have more of these shared customer bases, which drives in a lot of value to that neighborhood in its own. Now, Carissa, let's explore how intentional spending is reshaping customer behavior in Canada. Please tell us, what does value over volume mean, and how can businesses really win selective customers or consumers?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because we immediately start to think when we hear about value or volume that people are going to spend less. And yes, we have heard that 21% of Canadians expect to spend less on retail over the next 12 months. But 14% said they expect to spend more. So people still think that they are going to spend a little bit more money this year. And although consumers are thinking that they're going to cut back on some of their discretionary things like restaurants, bars, breweries, all that wellness services stuff, they also are talking about how they want to spend more locally and they're happy to spend locally. In fact, 61% of Canadians said that they would be shopping locally, but they want better value in return. So that means that they're looking for something more special, something that has higher quality. And for that, they're willing to spend more. And then they're also thinking about the quality, consistency, and that overall experience that they receive when they purchase that thing. So to win these selective consumers, businesses should actually focus on clear value prop. So bundled offers, limited time promotions, gift cards, just strong service offering, or even just remembering who your customers are and remembering to greet them when they walk through the door, so that you don't have to race to the bottom on price. And in fact, maybe still increase your revenues because you're driving more value back to your consumers and not just trying to sell volume.
Right. Focusing on quality and meaningful experiences, it really allows the local shops to compete even when the budgets are quite tight. So thank you for highlighting that point, Karisa. Now let's discuss how turning customers into regulars drives long-term growth. Karisa, why are repeat customers so valuable, and how can businesses build loyalty?
Yeah, I think there's predictability in this. When you have loyal customers, you assume they're going to come back. And it's no longer about focusing on your growth, but getting those people to come back more frequently, right? 84% of regular customers in Canada spend at least the same amount per visit once they become a regular. So it's not like them coming back again and again decreases that average spend, but it stays very consistent. And then our transaction data actually showed that a regular generates 6 times the annual value of a one-time visitor nationally. And in Montreal, in fact, 7 times. So we know that regulars are continuing to drive the volume and keep our local businesses open. And then what makes those regulars also so powerful is that not that they spend more dramatically on a single visit, it's that they come back again and again. So that repeat behavior compounds over time and gives businesses a stronger foundation, and they can make smarter decisions for their business because ultimately it's more predictable. And if we think about loyalty, so like businesses are saying that's great, but how do I actually focus on the loyalty piece and get people back through the door? We think businesses should focus on 3 things. So there's value, convenience, and recognition. So consumers told Square that affordable prices, friendly and reliable service, convenience, and quality all matter to them, not just one, but everything. And personalization is also really important to them. So 37% said personalization makes the experiences more memorable, and 40% said they choose businesses based on word of mouth. So loyalty programs that are readily available to businesses across the country really do drive those customers back through the door. They allow you to unlock things like rewards, birthday perks. I know that when I get a birthday perk, I very much go to all of the places that extend it to me. I'm very happy to do that. And then honestly, just making your customers feel remembered and special will get them coming back again and again.
That is a very well laid out response, Carissa. And it tells us that delivering consistent, personalized experiences is what transforms a unique and a simple transaction into a lasting bond of loyalty. And to all the business owners that are watching, in 2026 specifically, you aren't just selling a product, you're selling a relationship. And if you don't know your customers' names or their preferences, you're just kind of leaving the money on the table. So, it's important to really understand that the regular isn't just a customer. They're quite that insurance policy for our business's future. Next up, Chris, let's look at how seamless and convenient experiences shape customer loyalty. What technologies or tools help local businesses improve convenience and drive growth?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of technology out there that will unlock that convenience. Let's just start with what people were saying. So in our survey, 56% of Canadians ranked convenience at the top of the list on when they're making a decision on whether to visit a local business. So things like pickup or delivery when they get their food, or retail items, mobile pay, so they want to be able to tap or use their smartphone. And the ability to book your service through a reservation platform or a booking platform. I know that when I think about getting my hair done or my nails done, I'm I'm faster to go to those places that allow me to book so I can pick the exact time and day that I want to go versus having to call or show up and wait in line. The technologies that help the most are the ones that remove that friction from the customer to go to the business. And again, 2026, we don't like lines. We don't like waiting for things. That is just fact. So all of these technologies that unlock online ordering or the mobile payments on appointment booking, integrated loyalty programs, customer directories, tools that allow for smooth pickup and quick ordering will definitely be the technologies that businesses should look at in 2026 to create that opportunity for loyalty, for repeat business, and for little to no friction at all. So really the bigger idea here is that convenience is not just speed, it's about confidence and consistency. So I want to go back to businesses where I know that I can get in, I know what service I'm going to get, that it's consistently the same, that I'm being greeted by a business owner or staff that's excited to see me. They know my preferences. And there's so much technology out there today, like Square's offering, that will allow you to do just that and really start to deeply understand your customer, what they buy, when they buy, and how often they visit your business.
This is great. I mean, removing this friction that you're talking about, Karisa, from the checkpoint or the checkout process is quite the fastest way to improve customer satisfaction and really increase the frequency of visits by people.
Yeah, I'll add a note in that is that I spent years working in the restaurant industry. And not to date myself, but I was of the period where there wasn't this amazing technology and you would have to go wait in line to punch orders in, and then you would wait for a device to go check somebody out. And in somebody who's on the front of house, you can see your tip go down and down and down, and the customer experience start to diminish the longer they wait to pay.
Right.
And new technology, and also when you get an order wrong and the wrong thing comes to the table, they start to question the quality and your ability to serve them. And so new technologies for tableside ordering, it increases accuracy, it increases speed. It gets people spending more money at your business. It keeps people at your business longer spending money because they're happy. They're receiving quick service. They're getting everything that they looked for or ordered, and it's coming and arriving the way that they thought it would. So, and then when they go to leave, they get to pay right away and move on. All of that new technology unlocks that for businesses, and it increases that customer satisfaction. And then in turn, it increases the loyalty as well.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the listeners will relate to your experience with the tech. And this was a great, I'm glad that we were able to discuss the seamless transactions and the convenience for people, because it is important in this day and age. Finally, let's explore what the future holds for local economies across Canada. Karisa, what is your key outlook for the future of Canada's local economies?
Let's call it cautiously optimistic. Consumers in Canada, they're still watching their budgets, but they do have an appetite to support local. We've seen this appetite increase since 2020, 2021, which is really great. Canadians, we've had a lot of moments where we've rallied together and really wanted to support local. Our report found that 81% of Canadians plan to shop in their local neighborhoods just as much as they did last year, or even more. And 38% said that they plan to spend more time shopping in person versus the 13% that shift to online. So that 38% in person is pretty amazing. It wasn't that long ago that we were thinking that everything was going to be online, and we were going to, wonder what happens to our main streets and our small businesses. So that's pretty powerful. Overall, it tells us that local economies have a real opportunity ahead, especially for businesses that can deliver that value and the convenience and that human connection that we've been talking about. And then even when prices rise, consumers are telling us that they want to stay local if they can, and if the value's rising along with the cost. So my key outlook, honestly, overall, is that the future belongs to our small businesses that become part of the everyday neighborhood, that really neighborhood life, and really embrace their local customers and the people who are walking through their doors. The ones that will win are the ones that turn transactions into relationships, first-time visits into regular habits, the local presence into lasting trust. That is how local economies grow, and that's how they grow stronger over time.
Right. Now, this is a great connection that we understand that the commitment Canadians have to supporting local businesses remains strong as long as the value and connection are clearly present.
Yeah.
Finally, Karisa, I mean, this was a great, conversation. Thank you so much for sharing the key findings from the outlook and your view and your perception for the for 2026 and beyond. Now, what is your advice for businesses that are facing changing consumer spending habits?
Yeah, my advice is to pay close attention to what your customers are telling you. They're going to tell you that directly, and they're also going to tell you through their behavior. Consumers are not disappearing, but they are becoming more selective. They want quality, fair pricing, convenience, and experience that feels worth leaving their home for. That means businesses should focus less on chasing volume for its own sake and more on building repeatable value. Make the experience easy, remove friction from payment, pickup, booking, ordering, you name it. If a customer is coming through your door, remove the friction as best you can. Invest in loyalty and personalized follow up so your customers feel special. And make sure your brand promise is consistent, whether that customer is interacting with you online or if they're interacting with you in person. And probably most importantly, do not underestimate the power of your regular. We saw in the data, the regulars are the ones that are going to maintain your base and they're going to allow you to grow thoughtfully and strategically. So take care of them and do what you can to get those customers back through the door. They'll help you stabilize your revenue, strengthen the word of mouth, and connect your business more deeply into the neighborhood around you.
That is such a great reminder, so that focusing on the customer relationship is always the best investment. So thank you so much for highlighting that across our conversation today, and thank you for sharing such great expertise.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners, that was Karisa Marra from Square Canada, a vital masterclass in why neighborhood networks and the regulars effect are the keys to thriving in 2026 local economy. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. Before we leave, a special shout out to our partners, UPS and ADP, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please keep thriving, and we'll see you in the next one.